People have recent concerns about some of the changes that are going on in the government, specifically with Doge as it relates to Social Security. In this video, I'm going to talk about what the potential effects from Doge could be to any changes in your Social Security, as well as the potential future for Social Security as a whole. Welcome back. This is episode 247. In the news recently, there's been a significant amount of cuts that are being made by President Trump, and many of those cuts are coming as a result of the Doge Commission, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is being led by Elon Musk. So I've received some recent listener questions as far as concerns about what any potential effects from Doge could be as far as the future of Social Security, as well as any changes to Social Security benefits. So I want to talk about that, as well as talk about Social Security in general and some things that you should think about as it relates to the long-term solvency, as well as trying to get the most from your benefits. As a reminder, I mentioned last week, I'm coming upon 5 years of having the podcast. I appreciate all your support and the loyal listeners that I have. But if you haven't helped me to leave a review, I would greatly appreciate that. Having you leave a review could help me to increase the reach of the show and the visibility. And to do that, you can leave me a review in one of two places. If you have an iPhone, pull out your iPhone and pull up the Apple Podcast app, search Retire with Ryan. From there, you'll find my show. Click on it, scroll down to the bottom where you see ratings, and you can tap and leave a review. If you're listening on Spotify, it's a little easier. You can find my show, again, by searching Retire with Ryan on the Spotify app. If you scroll down and click rating, you can then leave me a review. It's that easy, and I would greatly appreciate it. So in case you are not familiar, what is Doge? Doge is the Department of Government Efficiency, which was put into place as a result of the election of President Trump and is being currently headed by Elon Musk. And I'm not sure exactly how many people are on the Doge team, but it's a number of people whose mission is to try to improve government efficiency. And there's a number of things that you probably read about that they've cut, a number of cuts. I'm not going to get into whether or not those cuts are actually having a positive impact, but one of the things that Doge is looking at is government waste and fraud. So Social Security was talked about recently. It was even mentioned in President Trump's recent State of the Union address. And what is the purpose of looking into Social Security waste and fraud? Well, obviously it's to try to cut down on any waste that's going on with Social Security. If people are receiving benefits they're not supposed to be getting, or if benefits are going to people who are no longer alive. So that was something that's being talked about. Now, more information is coming out about that, and it's looking like there's probably not as much fraud as initially was thought, possibly due to just Social Security systems being very old and antiquated, but people are most likely not receiving their benefits. But regardless, the listener question I received was concerned about whether Doge could make any cuts to Social Security, if it could change benefits that people are currently receiving or maybe are eligible to receive in the future. So let me talk a little bit about that. So who controls Social Security, first of all? Well, Congress controls Social Security. Social Security is a program that's mandated through Congress. The benefit formulas are mandated through Congress. The cost of living adjustments are mandated through Congress. So it would really take an act of Congress to change Social Security and or take away people's benefits. So I don't think my first thought would be that if you're concerned about losing your benefits due to Doge or something that President Trump could try to do, I think it would be very hard to do that because he doesn't have the ability to stop people's payments or to reduce people's payments, first of all. Secondly, President Trump has indicated that he actually wants people to get their payments and benefits, and he's trying to help people to get payments and benefits in a quicker way. Most recently, I talked about at the beginning of the year, the Social Security Fairness Act that was signed into law by President Biden that helps teachers and other state employees who didn't pay into Social Security receive benefits that were being reduced due to previous rules, as well as getting spousal benefits that they were not receiving. President Trump has urged those benefits to go out faster. Many people have already gotten that money in lump sum payments and are then getting these monthly payments going forward. So it doesn't seem that reducing Social Security or canceling Social Security is certainly anything that President Trump wants to do. And from the Doge perspective, it's really more about finding waste and fraud. And I think they're finding some of that, but not on the scale that they thought it was to begin with, which is a good thing because that means that Social Security is not being abused or has as much fraud in it as initially was being talked about. So what about Social Security solvency in general? Well, I've talked in the past about the long-term solvency of Social Security. And every year, the Social Security trustees release a report in which they detail how long Social Security will last based on its current formulas and estimated payments. As you know, Social Security is funded by Social Security taxes. If you're working, you're paying into Social Security. If you're self-employed, you're paying into it twice as much. If you work for a company, you're paying into part of it, and then your employer's paying into part of it. So all those Social Security deductions that people are paying is what's funding Social Security. So Social Security has a limit as far as how long it will last if no changes are made, according to the Social Security trustees. So their last report that came out this year said that by 2035, only 82% of the benefits would be able to be paid out based on their current projections. So what does that mean? In 2035, everyone receiving benefits would have roughly an 18% cut in benefits if Congress does nothing between now and 2035. And generally, like most things, Congress usually waits until the last minute to get something done. So that might be what happens with Social Security. But regardless, we have about 9 years until there could be a problem with Social Security. So hopefully Congress fixes that problem and makes it so the system is solvent for another 30 or 40 years into the future. The last time that this major change occurred was in the 1980s, and I believe it was 1983, and that made Social Security solvent until the present time, which is over 40 years of solvency. So if these changes are done, the system should be fine. Demographically as a country, we have enough younger people that are paying into Social Security that it should be fine as far as older people being able to receive their benefits. So there are some changes that need to happen, and if Congress does nothing, then there would be a shortfall in people's benefits, but it wouldn't be completely gone. There would possibly be a cut. So if you're concerned about that money being reduced in the future, then maybe it could be a reason why you might want to collect your benefits sooner. I don't think it should be the only reason, because Congress fixed this problem in the past. They most likely will fix it again. If you think about any congressperson, usually they like their job in Congress. It seems to be a pretty good job. They get pretty good pay, pretty good benefits, and they want to keep their job. So any congressperson that wanted to be reelected obviously would want to fix this problem, or they probably would not be able to be reelected. So I'm confident that Congress will fix this problem. Not exactly sure what the solutions will be. There's a number of them out there, such as for younger people extending the retirement date, maybe changing the benefits formula somewhat, but it is minor changes. So why might you want to wait to collect your benefit versus collecting it now because you're afraid that it might be changed by Doge or it might be reduced in the future? Is because the longer you wait to collect your benefit, the higher your benefit will be. And there's a formula I've talked about in past episodes that every year that you wait, your benefit's going up by about 7%. So there's an increase in your benefit. Additionally, there's also a cost of living adjustment that you receive once you're collecting Social Security. That is also mandated by Congress. Even better, Congress doesn't have to do anything for it to happen. There's a law in the books that measures the change in the consumer price index over the third quarter versus the previous third quarter, and that calculation determines what the cost of living adjustment is for the coming year. This most recent cost of living adjustment for 2025 was 2.5%. In prior years, it was even higher. So those cost of living adjustments can be very helpful, especially when we've been having high inflation in recent years. This is a part of your income in retirement that will have a hedge against inflation, because it's going to keep up with inflation, and it's mandated. If we have high inflation, we're going to see a high consumer price index. They're positively correlated. Secondly, the longer that you wait for Social Security, the higher benefit that you get, and therefore also the higher cost of living adjustment you receive as a dollar amount. If, let's say, the cost of living adjustment one year was 3%, and your benefit is $3,000 a month because you waited to collect, versus $2,000 collecting earlier, you receive the same 3% cost of living adjustment, but with the higher benefit, you get a $90 monthly increase, but with the lower benefit, you get a $60 monthly increase. So therefore, by waiting longer to collect your benefit, you're going to receive a higher dollar amount cost of living adjustment, and you'll get more money over time. Last thing to consider is that if you want to collect your benefit early, you're also limited to how much money you can earn and receive your benefit early. So if your full retirement, let's say, is 67, you're limited to how much money you can make starting at 62 until the year you're going to reach your full retirement. So that number is about $23,000 prior to the year you reach full retirement, and it's about $60,000 in the year you reach full retirement. Starting with the month you reach full retirement, there is no limit to how much you can make. So additionally, if you collect your benefit early, you're most likely, if you're working full time, not going to receive a lot of that money. So even though you would have started the collection process, you're not going to get the money. Now, do you lose it? No. You'll get it when either you stop working, or you cut back on your hours and your income goes down, or when you reach full retirement, you'll then get that money. So these are just a number of things to think about. I think there's definitely a lot of concerns. There's a lot of changes going on right now with the current administration, but I would say that Social Security is probably one of the most solid government benefits that there is. And yes, there are some problems with Social Security that we face in the next 9 years, but hopefully Congress will change that. And I would really look more at what is going to be best for you and your retirement income, and don't let some of this hysteria, force you into thinking, okay, I've got to collect my benefits because Doge is going to take them away. No, I really don't think that's the case. So I appreciate the listener question. As always, if you have another listener question, feel free to leave it by going to retirewithryan.com. And I hope that you have a great week, and I look forward to talking with you next Tuesday. Take care.